Welcome to 108 Gate. We're doing the Divine Feminine reading. Hope you are well. Bit of a feisty Divine Masculine reading coming up. If you haven't checked it out already, I definitely would. It's setting some boundaries, setting some rules, setting something straight, which on some level is really necessary. Certainly necessary with some people more than others. Anyway, let's go. Slow down. So Divine Feminine seems to be in a bit of a frenzy, bit of a in knots, emotional knots, and the emotional knots are coming from not recognizing certain things that are working for her, not taking the time to actually understand what is in favor of the progressing forward. What do you want to see, Divine Feminine? What do you want to see? Now, this is a weird energy because I keep seeing this. When you see the Divine Masculine reading, you'll understand a little bit better. So I literally had to take out a certain chunk of the reading because we're talking about this split that's coming in, the changes that are coming in. There is a definite split acknowledged in the Divine Masculine reading. So right now, it's about the Divine Feminine. Actually look at what do you need, what do you want. And if you're working towards that, then you're going to find ease coming in. If you're thinking that you're working towards it, but you're actually not, that's where things are going to be tripping up. And I know I keep saying this same thing over and over again the last few readings. Really monotonous and boring. And I apologise. But at the same time, it's the energy that's coming up. If we keep looking at the same thing in the same way, we're not allowing for creativity in our solutions to come in. We're not looking at creative ways of finding a solution or receiving a solution. So when you look at the big picture, what do you see? Slow down, Divine Feminine, and actually think about long term, what do I want? Short term, how am I working towards that? So, in the Divine Masculine reading, also things that are coming up were such as the accumulation of past lack of boundaries going to be showing its face now. So if we have healthy boundaries now and we feel confident with some boundaries that we have in place now, it's now the where we didn't have healthy boundaries, when we didn't have any boundaries, and the consequences of that, the accumulation of that, may start coming up now, may start showing up now. And it's a matter of keeping steady, keeping focused on what you're doing, focused on where you're going, focused on how you want to get there. And also, at the same time, being flexible and creative to find more solutions than just that one solution that you've put down. Is kind of stubbornness of like, this is what I want and this is how it's got to be done, this is how I want and this is how it's going to be done. There's no room for creativity, there's no room for flexibility. So you kind of, if you're in that space or anything around that space, it's kind of defeating itself from actually progressing before we started, in a way. So you want to shift that Divine Feminine, where that energy is locked in. You need to slow down and really look to where we're heading, really look to where we want to go. So bring in some calm, bring in some temperance. And I have not been one for meditating until I'm deciding to meditate and understand more so, or should I rather say, looking at different ways of meditating, different ways of focusing on being calm, different ways of being slower paced and actually observing what are we in, what are we doing, how are we correlating with certain things, how are we coordinating with certain things, how are we cooperating or not cooperating with certain things. So there's not just one way of meditation. Therefore, that's as an example, my way of finding creative ways of doing something that hasn't always been easy, but at the same time, knowing that there's more than one way to do things, keeping that in mind. You have a goal, there's more than one way to get to that goal. So if you're fixated on a particular thing and a particular outcome happening in a particular way, you're locking yourself into a particular outcome. you're locking yourself into making things possibly difficult for yourself. So easing up, opening heart, opening mind to allow things to be a bit more easier, fluid. So there you have the Hermit. Go within. Is there a certain place that you're scared of being vulnerable because of the way in the past, if we haven't had healthy boundaries, certain things played out, and now that is showing up as being stuck in a particular way of doing things? I'm only going to do this way because last time when I did it that way, that was the outcome. It may be that you do the same thing, but the outcome's different now because you are able to identify where boundaries have been placed and where they weren't placed before. It's about trust and faith in the process. You may have been doing something in the past in a particular way because you knew it could work, but there was a certain cog, there was a certain nut, there was a certain bolt, there was a certain aspect which hadn't clicked. And that's why it didn't work the way you wanted it to work. That's why it didn't work the way you had hoped it worked. So not to abandon all of it just because that one thing hadn't been tightened or this hadn't been adjusted. It's about looking to what hasn't worked. How can it be tweaked? How can it be adjusted? What's the pivot that can be taken? Where is the pivot that can be taken? Slow right down and don't lose everything you've been working on because you are hell bent, it feels like, on some people's energy radar thing. Like if you're sticking to some things so adamantly, you're not going to allow certain things to evolve and develop. And not only that, you're hindering the other parts. The divine masculine aspects are really ready. So to translate that into within you, your masculine, your feminine within you, if you're feeling really, really ready to get on with things and you're feeling really ready to move things forward, but you're still feeling hesitant, you're still feeling like things aren't moving forward the way you want, you're still feeling blocked, a lot of this possibly could be around the boundaries that were not healthy in the past. What are the consequences of not having healthy boundaries in the past? Face them, acknowledge them, and then allow yourself to see where that now can impact you now having boundaries that are healthy, and allow that fluidity, allow that creativity to come in. Feeling safer, look at that. Allow the flow to flow. 6 of coins, allowing the pouring of, allowing the receptivity to that which is of higher good for you, receptivity to receive that which you are focusing on. And look at that, what we get now. 10 of Cups. I'm still a bit under the weather, so sorry about the sniffling, but it is what it is. 10 of Cups. Calm the F down. Sorry, but really just calm right down. Slow right down. Really just take stock of where you are feeling a bit stuck. Slow right down. Slow right down. Observe it. What is it informing you of? Where are certain things still stuck? Where are certain things still hooked in? Where are certain things still feeling quite raw? Where are certain things still feeling ignored? That is your key to move forward. We'll get 2 more here and then let's see where it goes. Right, well, look at that. Queen of Pentacles, literally just receiving. Be receptive to receiving. You've got so much, literally, it feels like there's an abundance dancing around, swirling around, ready and ripe to be received. Things weren't correct before. The correct boundaries weren't put in place before. It's not a matter of carrying on with that same energy, with that same vibe of when the boundaries were not correct. It's a matter of now acknowledging the healthier boundaries are in place now. The healthier boundaries are acknowledged now. So now move forward. How do I move forward? How do I step forward? Like, seriously? 10 of Cups, 10 of Coins. It's all there, waiting for you to receive. It's about you. How ready are you to receive? Slow right down. Be receptive to receiving. Find that courage and strength within. Quite straightforward. Check out the Divine Masculine reading. Quite interesting. And for those of you who are interested, the monthlies are in the process of going up. Like I said, I've been a bit under the weather, so it's a bit slower than I anticipated, but they are going up. And other than that, peace and love.